the 9th day of Christmas decluttering, I have 23 items that you need to declutter in 2023. Hello, my name's Rachel and welcome back to my channel. I do videos all about decluttering, minimalism and my no spend year, and today we are coming to the end, last couple of videos on Christmas decluttering, and I have 23 items that you can either declutter completely or reduce the amount that you have. So this is a definitive list that I've come up with of items that I feel like I do not need in my life or I significantly need to reduce the amount that I have. So these are items that I feel are unnecessary or take up too much time in my life. First up is subscriptions. I don't know about you, but I get quite fed up with the amount of email subscriptions that I get and things that I didn't even sign up for that just appear in my email box, and I am just done with it. So I'm going to get rid of any email subscriptions that I've got. I'm also going to go through any TV subscriptions or subscription packages and make sure I don't have anything I don't need. So you may have subscriptions to some different TV streaming services. Could you declutter or get rid of any that you are not using? Be realistic. Is it that you only want to have certain movies and documentaries? Does one service provide most of that for you so that you don't need all of them? Choose your favourite one and then get rid of the rest. Similarly, you might have subscriptions to magazines or newspapers. Are they ones that you really enjoy reading every time, or actually could you find most of your information online instead? My second item to reduce down is self-care items that you do not love. So how many times have you bought self-care items that you think, oh, I'm really going to have a go at this, and you try it and you really don't like it? So you might have been the person that got a dehumidifier that sprays out puffs of scent and actually you don't enjoy that, you don't like it. You could have got wax candles that you wanted to burn and to have the scent and you find them too fussy. I was that person. I did not get on well with wax melts, but I love a candle and I do like my dehumidifier with the natural essential oils. Decide what you do and don't like with self-care products. Are there any bath products that you have tried and thought, really don't like this scent, or I don't like the way it feels, or it isn't really making me feel good? Those are items that you don't need in your life, so they can absolutely go. You should only be doing self-care things with things that you absolutely love. Because the whole point is that it's meant to make you feel good. It's meant to help you relax, helping you build up your kind of resilience, your confidence, and if they are not doing those things, then they are not necessary. Number 3 is to reduce down your wardrobe. It is so much nicer to go into a wardrobe where you have a whole wardrobe full of things you absolutely love. You know that they fit, you know that they mix and match with each other, and you don't have anything that's worn or no longer suits your style. You have got everything that you need straight away. It just makes it so much easier to get dressed in the morning, to choose outfits, to be able to mix and match things and develop a sense of style when you have a reduced wardrobe. You're then not going to be trying things on that you know don't fit. It just makes the process that little bit more relaxing and stress-free. So reduce down your wardrobe as much as you can so that you only have the things that you absolutely love. The fourth thing we are going to absolutely get rid of this year in 2023 is impulse buys. We are all guilty. We all get that urge when we're in the shop, down the middle aisle of the supermarkets, or when we go to clothes shopping, we just get something a little extra just because. It's those impulse buys that end up cluttering up our home. So if we can get rid of impulse buys altogether, you're going to have more money in your pocket, you're going to have more space and more time. Try and reduce down the amount of time that you have the opportunity for impulse buys. Could you avoid that middle aisle? So I'm somebody that completely goes away from it. I don't even go down the middle aisle in the supermarkets. I just go exactly where I need to go. So I always go shopping with a list. It makes it so much easier and you are not then tempted. So I think about each item before I buy it. So if you're tempted for an impulse buy, put it on hold, come back to it in a week, in a couple of weeks, and do you still want it then? If you do, then it's worth buying. But if you don't and you realise actually that would have been £15 that I wasted, you have conquered that battle with impulse buys. Number 5 is to completely get rid of any unnecessary tasks. So how many times do you write a to-do list and there's lots of tasks on there that actually are not important? They do not need to happen. It's doing things for the sake of doing things. Get rid of anything that is not necessary. This could be messaging people for the sake of it. It could be doing an extra tidy up or an extra hoover that doesn't really need to happen. Only do the necessary tasks that you need to do in your life. It will free up so much more time. The next thing to declutter is high expectations of things that are just not achievable. I think the emotions that we attach to having these really ridiculously high expectations that are just not going to happen can create this roller coaster of emotions, when actually we should be setting tasks that are achievable so that we can meet those goals and keep moving towards those bigger goals. So having those huge expectations on people, on daily life, on keeping up with the Joneses, it's reducing those unnecessary expectations that don't need to be there. So we don't need to be comparing ourselves, we don't need to be expecting ourselves to be looking wealthy or anything like that. We don't need to have things to represent these expectations that we put on ourselves. Actually, we need to think about our emotions and regulate more carefully and think about a more simple, sustainable living. So alter your expectations so that they are achievable and that they are realistic, and that you're not having this roller coaster journey that you would do if you have ridiculous expectations on people, on tasks, on goals, on anything. The next thing I would like you to really consider getting rid of is anything that is unused and unnecessary furniture. You will totally appreciate how much space you will have if you can actually get rid of anything that's unnecessary. Do you need 2 chests of drawers in your bedroom? Could you reduce it down to 1? Do you need to have a sideboard in your living room, or could you actually just have a small console table? Think about how you can reduce the amount of furniture so that you have less surface area to clutter up and less to clean, less to tidy, less to organise, and it just means that you have space. Value that space and see how that makes you feel, because actually that space around you makes you feel like you have a bigger home, that you have a cozier home. It just means that you have more to enjoy, and furniture is going to be cluttering up that vision. Number 8 is any old paperwork. These items can be decluttered. Pretty much every bank will allow you access to the last 6 years of statements, so you can easily get access to them if you need them. You can store these digitally, you can download these from your online banking so that you have a digital copy. You do not need to keep physical copies of things. Most utility bills are all accessible online and you can have them downloaded very easily. So there's no need to keep these extra bits of paperwork. Your paperwork file should be really minimal. The only thing that I've got that's paperwork is my tenancy agreement, which has my rent and my details on, because I have to keep that as a physical copy. But other than that, I don't really keep that many bills. I tend to get rid of them after about 6 months and just keep the most recent one should I need to do an emergency phone call. But pretty much everything is accessible online. Like, do we need it? Really, we don't. And it's just about making sure that we have alternative copies that are easily accessible so that we can get rid of those paper copies. The same thing can go for old paperwork, such as old school documents and things like that. Do we need to keep our books from when we were doing year 8 and year 9 science? Probably not. So those are things that we can really consider. Actually, do we want to keep them? Do you have any old projects that are paperwork based? Have you done loads of notebooks with ideas and designs that are just not something that you're really considering anymore, or really old and dated? Could you get rid of those as well? Number 9 is unwanted gifts. This is quite a difficult area for many people. I think the attachment of getting a gift can be quite difficult because you get that guilt associated with getting rid of that item. But one way you can tackle that is make sure you have those conversations with friends and family about what it is you would like, so that you don't have those unwanted gifts in the first place. But anytime you do have an unwanted gift, could you consider donating it to somebody else or to a charity, or could you sell it if it's appropriate? Next up, for number 10, is books and magazines. Would you consider going completely digital and getting rid of your paper and hardbacks so that you can reduce complete clutter in your home? So reducing the need for a bookshelf, for example, it's an idea that is worth considering if you are very short on space. I am totally guilty of wanting a paper copy, so that is something that I've really been working on. I used to have 2 big bookshelves absolutely full. A lot of them would be books that I intend to read and just never get round to reading, and probably won't get round to reading. So actually, do we need to keep all these physical books when a lot of them are so easily accessible on online services? So for example, our library service that we have in the UK is really good because actually you can put a hold on something if it's a popular book, and you can have the digital copy or an audio book probably within like 5 to 10 weeks if it's a popular book. And there's no reason why you can't wait that time anyway and read something different in the meantime. We have that flexibility, so why not use these services that are free and available to us to save us actually purchasing books that we don't necessarily need to purchase, especially when you can get a digital version. Number 11 is to get rid of any unused devices. So do you have any old laptops or any phones, any tablets that are just not being used? Could they be sold for profit so that you've got some more cash in your pocket? Or could they be donated to a friend or family that's looking for something similar? Any device is essentially money sat in your hand that could be sold, and you're going to get more money from selling it as soon as you stop using it than if you let it sit in your drawers for a couple of years. You're losing value each year that you do that. So think about any devices that you're not using and see if you can find a way of selling them or donating them to somebody else. These don't need to be kept. We don't need spare devices. It's so easy to get hold of something new if something were to break that actually we wouldn't want to go back to an older device anyway. We'd want to be getting a similar version of what we've already got. So a lot of it becomes outdated. So get the capital while you can for each item. Number 12, and I'm going to put my hand up because I'm guilty of this, is items that are for hobbies that you're not going to do or not going to use. So for example, I like hobbies. I do get into hobbies. So like I got painting stuff last year and I haven't done as much of it as I would really like. But I would like to keep trying and persevering, but trying a different medium. So I do buy crafty things and hobby things, but I try and use them. But are you somebody that buys new hobby items on a regular basis that you don't then use? So do you buy painting equipment? Do you buy sewing machines and different fabrics? Do you buy other craft supplies for making, for doing pom-poms or card making or scrapbooking? Have you got loads of items that you probably aren't going to use? Those are great things that you could then sell as individual items, or you could donate them to somebody else. Number 13 is expired food or food that you just won't eat. So go through your cupboards and get rid of anything that is expired. There are certain things that you cannot eat past their expiry date, and if you don't go through your cupboards regularly, there are probably more there than you think. I've done that before when I've moved house after a couple of years and realised that I've got stuff that are probably 3 or 4 years out of date. And why is it taking up valuable storage space? I've only got a small kitchen, and actually to go through things like that regularly and make sure I'm eating the things that I'm storing is worth noting, because if there are items there that you are not going to eat but are in date, can you donate them to somebody else in your friends or family list that would actually really enjoy that item? So do you not like certain kind of tinned beans? Could you pass them on? So they're not going to waste, they're still being used, but somebody else is getting that use out of it, especially if you're not going to eat that item. Number 14 is unused apps. This is one that I'm really good at. I will delete anything that's unused quite regularly. I don't like to have any app that is not being used on my phone. So I'm really particular about this because it takes up valuable space and I would rather have it for photos and other things. So go through and get rid of any apps that you are not using. Number 15 is to get rid of any artwork that doesn't make you happy. I know artwork, some people are quite seasonal with things, they like to change things up quite regularly, and there's a reason people do that to a certain degree. It's because we kind of love this thing at the festival and our styles change or our emotions change and we don't quite connect with that piece anymore. Be consistent in in taking down things that do not make you happy. So if you've got pictures on your wall that you consider as art, which I would absolutely consider art, change your pictures regularly to make you feel good, so that you notice them, that you get that joy out of it, rather than having pictures up there that are going to make you feel unhappy or attach different emotions to that might make you sad. Know that artwork is there for a purpose. It's there to make you feel good. It's there to kind of engage with. And if you're not having that connection anymore, then it's not worth keeping. Number 16 is to get rid of any holiday or seasonal decor. I'm not one for doing much other than Christmas decorations, and even that is still quite minimalistic. I don't have Halloween decor, I don't do Easter decor. I'm just not about that. I just think that actually that is unnecessary for me, and it's unnecessary expectations on myself, because then there's the expectation to make a nice display and things like that, but actually that's not what I'm about. That's not what makes me feel good. It's not what makes me happy. So actually I don't need that pressure of having seasonal decor. I just don't have it. So I only have a few select Christmas decorations, and that's all I need, and that's okay. You don't have to have the pressure of having all these seasonal things that you don't enjoy. If you enjoy it, that's great, but then reduce down the amount that you have and make sure it's only stuff that you will actually use. Number 17 is boxes that are being kept for toys or devices. You do not need to keep boxes for toys. The chances of actually needing that box again are really slim. I know that my son's kept certain boxes for Lego, and realistically he's not going to be able to use them or sell them on, because people don't necessarily want that. Especially if it's not a product that he's going to keep together and keep all the bits to. Actually, do we need to keep the boxes for things like that? It's just another thing you're storing unnecessarily. So make sure that you are good at getting rid of those extra boxes that you do not need to keep. Number 18 is to get rid of anything that is unused for games, consoles or board games. Go through your collection, and anything that you haven't used in the last year or so, declutter. You don't need to keep it. Things change, your kind of relationship with different games might change, you might have completed them. Actually get into the habit of selling them on when you have finished having that experience with it, that joy with it. You don't need to keep things that are not being used. And again, that is something that you can profit from. You can sell games, you can sell console games. You get more value from it if you sell it at the time that you are finished with the item, and letting it sit there and depreciate in value. Number 19 is to declutter any unused office supplies. So how many people, hands up, have got a massive collection of pens, pencils, coloured pencils, highlighters, staples, paper clips that actually they just don't use? I've gone through quite regularly my stationery, and we do start using it up now, and we've now got to the point where we don't have as many, but it's really hard when you've got resources that are usable and you don't want to get rid of them or just throw them away. So I do take stuff to school now, so schools are a good one to donate certain things to. So I tend to take any spare stationery that I have, I take it to school and use it there, because I will use it more there than I will at home. I don't have an office, and I don't use things like an office, so there's no point me having the office things. And that's the reality of it. If you have a working office, you might use some of those things, but there might still be items that you have bought in, like office sets, that you still don't use, and actually we don't need to keep things that are not being used. And so unused office supplies have to go. Number 20 is unused cables. So these are cables that you don't know what device it works with, or you've got 10 of the same cable. It's about reducing the amount that you have. You don't need to have 10 versions of cable. You don't need to have cables that you don't know what it fits. Match up all your devices with a cable, and then get rid of anything that is left over that doesn't match up. Number 21 is to get rid of any old used candles. I'm a regular candle burner. I will burn them most evenings. I really like them, but actually it's quite easy to try and swap out candles regularly and get into the habit of keeping old candles in the drawer that don't need to be kept. So try and get in the habit of using up a candle and then putting it straight in the bin when you are finished, when it's cool obviously. Number 22 is mugs and glasses. How many mugs, how many glasses does one family need? Get rid of the excess that you don't like, the ones that don't feel nice when you hold them, that are uncomfortable, any that are chipped or damaged, they need to go straight away, and just have the amount that you need. Be realistic with that. You don't need to have 2 cupboards full to the max of mugs. And number 23 is to completely reduce down your bath and body products. It's very tempting to have a whole bath area and shower area full of different products, but only keep the ones that you're actually going to use. If there are ones that you don't like, get rid of those or donate them straight away. If they're ones that you will use, try and get in the habit of using up everything that you have before you start purchasing anything new. We don't need to have these big stockpiles of products. So those are 23 items that you need to either declutter completely or reduce the amount that you have. And hopefully you've enjoyed this. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you did, and subscribe down below if you want to see more videos on decluttering, minimalism and my no spend year. She'll see you soon for 2 more videos of Christmas decluttering. Take care, bye.